Hello everyone. Now here we are continuing the topic of acids, bases and salts. In the previous lecture we have discussed about some of the chemical properties of acids and bases. So in which when acids and bases can be react with metals to form salt and hydrogen gas as products. And one of the chemical property when acids can be react with carbonates and bicarbonates to form salt, water and carbon dioxide gas as products, but bases are do not react with carbonates and bicarbonates. Next chemical property, so when acids can be react with bases to forms salt and water, this reaction is nothing but neutralization reactions. Next another chemical property we have discussed, when non-metal oxides can be react with base, otherwise when metal oxides can be react with acids to form salt and water as a products. Up to here in the previous class we have discussed. Now in this lecture we have been discussing about what do have acids and bases are common. Okay students? Okay. Now generally in the acids the common element is hydrogen, and in the bases the common radical is OH minus. Okay. So when acids can be react with metals to form hydrogen gas, is nothing but hydrogen can be seen as a common element in the all acids. Now let us perform activity to investigate whether all the compounds are containing hydrogen, they are acids or not. Okay. For example, I consider the example glucose C6H12O6. So in that compound hydrogen is one of the element, so it can be acts as acid. And another example I consider, that is C2H5OH, alcohol. So in that alcohol also hydrogen is one of the element, then this compound can be acts as acid. Now we check with lab activity. For that we have prepared some solutions like glucose, alcohol, HCl and H2SO4 solutions. First we prepare some solutions, glucose solution, alcohol solution, HCl solution and sulfuric acid solution. Now we can perform lab activity. Now all of you see the slide. Yes, this is the slide. So what do all acids and bases have in common? For that we are conducting one experiment, that is acid solution in water conducts electricity. So before going to lab activity, first you should know what we have chemicals required for doing this experiment. So chemicals required, beaker, and we are considering graphite rods and dilute HCl solution we take, and rubber cork and battery and bulb. These are the requirements for doing experiment. Here one doubt is arises in our mind, sir, why we are keeping a bulb in the experiment, because if there is a electric current through the solution, then this bulb can be glow. Whenever in the solution electric current can be passed, is nothing but when the substance can be produce ions, these ions can be movement in the solution, then charge can be transferred, then electrical conductivity can be obtained, then the bulb will be glowing. Okay. Now experimental setup, first all of you listen. So first we consider a beaker. In the beaker I pouring dilute HCl solution. The experimental setup is I consider two graphite rods. Two electrical wires can be connected to these rods, and one of the bulb is connected to a wire, and we are applying 230 AC voltage current, one of the free ends of electric current, electric wires, one of the free ends of electric wires. Then we are observing, now I am considering here acid solution. Now all of you see the board. Now I am considering HCl solution. So that is HCl solution is nothing but aqueous HCl. Now we are applying current. First current can be passed through the electrodes. So this, due to this current, the compound can be breakdown. So HCl can be break down into H plus and Cl minus ions. These ions can be movement in the solution. Due to movement of these ions, the electric current can be passed in the solution, then the bulb will be glow. So in case of acid solution, the bulb will be glow. So otherwise I consider some of the solutions like glucose solution. I consider glucose solution, that is C6H12O6. This glucose solution does not produce any ions, does not produce any free ions like H plus ions. That's why in this case the bulb will not be glow. So that's why glucose can't be considered as a acid. And similarly I consider the alcoholic solution in the beaker. Alcoholic solution, that is C2H5OH. This substance also do not produce any ions in the solution. Then there is no current. Whenever the substance do not produce ions, these ions can't movement in the solutions. So there is no movement of ions. So there is no electric current. So there is no glowing of bulb. So I consider now H2SO4 solution, sulfuric acid solution I consider. This compound can be produce ions like H plus ions and SO4 2 minus ions. These two ions can be movement in the solution. Whenever these ions are movement in the solution, there is a electric current passing in the solution. So due to that, the bulb will be glowing. So you will notice that in the experiment, in case of HCl and H2SO4 solutions, the bulb will be glow. Otherwise, in the case of glucose and alcoholic solutions, the bulb will not be glow. It's nothing but these substances do not produce any free ions. That's why these substances cannot be considered as a acids. So we know that generally acids consist H plus ions. Due to these H plus ions, acidic properties can be explained. Okay students, you are getting my point? So in some of the acids, H plus ions are present. Due to these H plus ions, we can explain the acidic properties. We can explain the acidic properties. The same concept is applicable to bases also. What do you have common in bases? OH minus ions. If the compound can be produce OH minus ions in the solution, these ions can be movement in the solution, then there is a electric current passed through the solution, then bulb will be glow. Okay students, is nothing but here those compounds can be produce free ions. That compounds can be considered as acids or bases. In case of acids, the compound can be produced H plus ions. In case of bases, the compounds can be produced OH minus ions. Now one of the activity can be discussed. That activity is, do acids produce ions only aqueous solution? Acids can be produce ions only in aqueous solution. Now let us check. For that, first of all I considered 1 gram of sodium chloride and we have to add some diluted H2SO4 in the test tube. Then HCl gas can be produced. First of all I consider 1 gram of NaCl in a test tube, and then we have to add some diluted sulfuric acid to that, then HCl gas can be produced. Now let us test the evolved HCl gas successfully with dry and wet litmus papers. When dry HCl gas is placed on blue litmus paper, this blue litmus paper cannot be changed into red litmus paper. Is nothing but dry HCl is not a acid. We know that when the substance we call as acid, according to practically, when the blue litmus paper can be contacted on acidic solution, this blue litmus paper can be converted into red. Yes or not? Otherwise, when the acid substance can be dissolved in the aqueous, then they can produce H plus ions. Now this dry HCl gas can't be changes the blue litmus paper into red. So we are concluded that dry HCl is not a acid. Is not a acid. Why sir? Because this substance can't be produce H plus ions. Otherwise, this substance can't be changed the blue litmus paper. That's why dry HCl can't be regarded as a acid. Now I consider aqueous HCl. It's nothing but, now I place wet litmus paper now. Wet litmus. Now I am testing with wet litmus. Then the blue litmus paper can be changes into now red litmus. So blue can be changes into red in this case. Is nothing but, so aqueous HCl can be produce H plus ions. So that's why aqueous HCl can be considered as a acid. So when acids or bases, when dissolving in water to produce H plus and OH minus ions respectively. So acids can be produce ions only in aqueous solution. Only in aqueous solution. We know that already we have discussed in the previous session. When the substances dissolves in water to produce H plus ions, that substance is called as acid. When the substances are dissolved in water to produce OH minus ions, that substances we call as a base. Yes or not? Want to see the slide? Yes. So whenever the substance produced in the aqueous medium H plus ions, yes, that substance we called as acid. We know that these H plus ions can't be exist alone. Why? Because these H plus ions are unstable. These H plus ions can be exist in most hydrated forms only. So when H plus reacts with water to produce H3O plus ions, these H3O plus ions again react with water to form H5O2 plus ions, like that. So these H plus ions can be exist in most hydrated form only. Okay, students. So similarly, bases. Bases can be dissolved in water to produce OH minus ions. So these OH minus ions also exist in hydrated form. Okay. So NaOH when produced, Na plus and OH minus ions when the dissolving in water. So these OH minus ions again react with water. Okay. So those substances, we know that those substances which are dissolved in water to produce OH minus ions, that substance we called as a base. Next, another term is there, alkali. So what are alkalis? What is the relation between base and alkali? Alkali is nothing but those bases which are soluble in water to produce those bases which are soluble in water, that base we call as alkali. So all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. No need to all bases are dissolving in water. Some of the bases can be dissolved in water. Otherwise, some bases are does not dissolve in water. Some I consider an example. Let us see the board. Beryllium hydroxide. Beryllium hydroxide. Generally, this substance consists of OH. Is nothing but we can say beryllium hydroxide is a base. Yes. So these base can be soluble in water, sir? No. So beryllium hydroxide, there is a slightly soluble in water, but not completely soluble in water. That's why beryllium hydroxide is not a alkali. It is not a alkali. But beryllium hydroxide is a base. So all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. There is no need to all bases are soluble in water. Are you getting my point? Yes. Example. So all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. Examples: beryllium hydroxide. Now let us explain another activity, that is, what do you observe when water is mixed with acid or base? What do you observe when water is mixed with acid or base? For that, first let us consider 10 ml of water in a beaker. First I consider 10 ml of water in a beaker. Then we have to add 5 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid. Then we have to add 5 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay. Then you observe the bottom of the test tube. What do you feel? The test tube is hot or cool? When the concentrated acid is dissolving in water, it takes place exothermic reaction. It takes place exothermic reaction. What is meant by exothermic reaction? In those chemical reactions, heat can be produced. That chemical reaction we call as exothermic reaction. So in the test tube, the reaction can be done as exothermic. That's why the bottom of the test tube we feel as hot. Okay. The process of dissolving an acid or a base with water is called as, generally we takes place the reaction as exothermic reaction. But care must be taken while concentrated nitric acids and concentrated sulfuric acid, when dissolving in water, you should take care. Okay. Once see the slide, all of you. Yes. The process of dissolving an acid or a base in water is a highly exothermic one. Care must be taken while mixing concentrated nitric acid or sulfuric acid with water. The acid must always be added slowly to water with constant stirring. If water is added to a concentrated acid, the heat generated may cause the mixtures to splash out and cause burns. The glass container may also break due to excessive local heating. So look out for the warning sign on the can of concentrated sulfuric acid and the bottle of the sodium hydroxide pellate. That is, this is warning sign. The warning sign displayed on container containing concentrated acids and concentrated bases. Okay, students. Now listen. Whenever you are using concentrated acids or concentrated base, we are must wearing the gloves, and we don't directly catch the test tube. We are using the holder. Okay. So this is very, very important note. You always must be add as concentrated acid or concentrated base to a water only. Not add water to acid or base. Then exothermic reaction can be takes place. The mixture can be splash out. So that is very, very important point here. Okay, you should always add acids or bases to water only slowly. Not you should add water to concentrated acids or concentrated bases. Here in that process one term is came, that is dilution. Dilution. What is meant by dilution, sir? Dilution is nothing but whenever you are adding water to concentrated substances, then that substance becomes diluted. The term is called as dilution. Suppose I consider concentrated sulfuric acid. Concentrated sulfuric acid. Already you know concentrated sulfuric acid means acid content is more, water content is low. Whereas diluted acid means water content more, acid content low. Yes or not? Yes. Now it is a concentrated sulfuric acid. Now I am adding water to concentrated sulfuric acid. Not I am adding water to concentrated sulfuric acid. So concentrated sulfuric acid can be added slowly to water. Then this concentrated sulfuric acid becomes diluted sulfuric acid. So when concentrated can be converted into diluted, is nothing but dilution. This is nothing but dilution. Now next concept is strength of acid and base. So what is meant by strength? Here strength we can understand as strong or weak. Strong or weak is nothing but how can we identify whether it is a strong acid or it is a weak acid or it is a strong base or weak base. We know that generally, as you know, strong acid is nothing but the acid which can produce more number of H plus ions, or it can produce more number of H3O plus ions, hydronium ions. That substance we can be called as strong acid. In another way, we can say that strong acid is nothing but the compound can be undergo complete dissociation. The compound can be undergo a complete dissociation. That compound we can be considered as a strong. Yes or not? Yes. By practically, we can say that it is a strong acid, sir. It is a weak acid, sir, or otherwise strong base or weak base. Already we have studied the one of the experiment in this session, that is acid solution in water conducts electricity. Yes or not? In that experimental setup, suppose I consider diluted CH3COOH means acetic acid. Suppose I consider acetic acid solution in that beaker. In that we are using two graphite electrodes. These two electrodes can be connected with a battery, or one of the electrical wire we can be connected as one bulb. Now in that experimental setup, I consider acetic acid. Whenever electric current is passed through electrodes, then entering into solution, this compound can be dissociated into CH3COO minus and H plus ions. So the compound can be produce these ions. These ions can be movement in the solution. Then there is a electric current can be flow in the solution. Due to this, the bulb will be glow. Yes or not? Yes. Whenever the ions are movement in the solution, then there is a electric current through the solution, then the bulb will be glow. If the bulb glow deep, then that is called as weak acid. Suppose if the bulb glows shiny, then that substance is called as strong. Okay students, now diluted acetic acid, it is a weak acid generally. Diluted acetic acid is a weak acid. It does not produce more number of H plus ions. It does not decompose complete dissociation. It is undergo partial dissociation. Okay students? So similarly, now I consider in that activity, I consider the H2SO4 solution. Already we have seen that one. We consider H2SO4 solution in that experimental setup. Then this sulfuric acid can be dissociate H plus ions and SO4 2 minus ions. These ions can be movement in the solution. There is a movement in the solution. Then there is electric current. Due to that, the bulb will be glow. But this time the bulb will be glow more shiny. That's why it is considered as a strong acid. Similarly, the concept we can applicable to bases only. Suppose I consider NaOH solution. The bulb will glow more shine. It's nothing but it is a strong base. Now I consider a solution of ammonium hydroxide. In this case, the bulb will be glow very deeply, dim, like the dim. So it is we consider as a weak. So due to the based on glowing of the bulb, we can say whether the substance is strong or weak. Yes or not? Yes. In another way is there. Other way is there. That is, how can we identify whether the substance is strong or weak? By using universal indicators. We are predicting whether the substance is acid or base by using universal indicators. So what are universal indicators? I can discuss in the next session. Okay students, up to here in this session we have discussed about acid solution in water conducts electricity. Acids produce ions only in aqueous medium. The process of dissolving acid or base with water is exothermic. Yes or not?